if my name is Rami Rustam, this world will become what it is supposed to be. Now, this is a little bit of trolling because, well, what's my name? Unless it's something else. Unless my mom lied to me. Unless my birth certificate says something else besides Rami Rustam, then what's going to happen is what's going to happen. But that's not saying anything. I'm just trolling them back.
Yeah.
Allah's trolling us here. What kind of test is this?
I remember I had a post.
So I have to be God in order to prove God wrong. I have to be God. Do you understand that? God is presenting it where the only way at least for this test, the only way I can prove God wrong is I have to be God that made the sun and I can move it around the other way. It's a game. It's not even an actual challenge. Yeah. It's a game. It's a trick. This is a really dumb trick, though. The Surah one is a smarter trick, right? Like, because I don't think anyone's going around going, "Bring the sun from the other side. Do it. I dare you."
Yeah.
No human is actually saying that to another person.
Yeah.
But they are doing it for the Surah one. What is the set of logical tests that you use to determine if something is a miracle or not? And then, once you have those logical tests, now you need to see how it works in the examples. You need to get all of the miracles and prophecies claimed by a Muslim, and all of the miracles and prophecies claimed by every other religion and non-religions, and then perform those tests on all of them, and then it better come out with this. The Muslim miracles and prophecies all came true, and the non-Muslim miracles and prophecies all failed the test. Then you could say something. I haven't seen a Muslim do anything, remotely anything like this. None. Meaning they're not doing science. They're doing mythology. All right, we're starting now. New episode, Uniting the Cults. I have my friend here. He goes by the name Zorro, at least in online a bunch of years ago. I'm going to try hard to not say his name. So Zorro, say hello to everyone.
Hello, everybody.
So this episode is somebody on the ex-Muslim subreddit asked me to make some essays and videos debunking popular arguments of religious apologists, and I basically said I don't know what people want to hear because I don't talk to those people. And somebody else replied, their name is SealingCord, username, and I'm going to go ahead and read this, and then Zorro and I are going to discuss it and try to help. And I wanted Zorro on this because I thought he would have input and perspectives that I wouldn't be able to bring to this. He's a lot more connected and Arab than I am. I was born and raised in the U.S., and he was born and raised, can we go ahead and say, in Iraq. And he's been here, 5 years? Is that saying too much?
Not so much.
Not so much?
Yeah.
He's been here 5 years in the U.S. now, and he's a citizen. Is that too much? We can delete this if we need to.
It's okay.
He's a U.S. citizen now. And, all right, so SealingCord says, one common thing when debating Muslims is the following. They don't speak Arabic, and they admit they don't either. My Arabic's not very good. Well, let's skip me for a second, and we'll talk about you later. But there's this challenge, bring one surah like it, and this is from the Quran. You want to explain that real quick for the audience in case they don't know what this is?
What part?
I think it's in the Quran. There's a challenge in the Quran that says, It's challenging every human being after
Yeah.
Muhammad. Can you bring a surah that is better than what is in the Quran? Isn't that how it's worded, or something like
Yes,
that?
or sometimes like we bring the sun from the east. Can you bring it from the west? It's a lot of challenges. Yes.
There's more than one. You mean this is
Yeah.
one of them?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, so I want to say real quick. I copied all this into a new post. I'm gonna go ahead and switch to that now. And
Do it.
we should give them a challenge.
Yeah.
Bring me a challenge from the Quran that isn't ridiculous. Bring the sun from the other side.
Yeah.
Okay. It would be great to have a concise and clear explanation of why this is stupid in their situation. Because I'm going to go ahead and delete some of this. You know what? I also need the link before we do that. I'll reorganize this this later with the title and everything. Press send later. They say they themselves have no way of verifying that the Quran is the linguistic miracle it claims to be. So the challenge does not have any rules to determine if the challenge was successful or a failure.
Yeah.
They have no criteria as to what constitutes a... Okay, yeah, that's what I just said. Ditto. They are relying on scholars, but again, they have no way to verify what the scholars say is true. They're just assuming the scholars know what they're talking about or have the truth. And it's like saying, I don't know shit, but my tribal leaders know. Go ask them. They'll probably prove you wrong. I've heard people actually say that like that. Have you heard people talk that way?
Yeah, all the time.
So they're saying somebody else knows the truth.
Yeah, I don't know anything.
Yeah, I don't know anything. Go talk to them. They'll prove you wrong.
These people...
But how do they know that?
They are not trying to find the truth. They are coming here, just they put the goal ahead. And they want to reach to that goal. And when they struggle, then they give up until you go to someone knows better than me. So actually, they are not trying to use their minds and thinking. They are just trying to prove what they come from. They put the goal before the process. They upside down. They work upside down in their mentality.
Upside down, yeah. They're trying, well, I don't even know how to describe what you said because it sounds so crazy. I know what you're saying.
It's crazy.
It sounds so crazy.
Okay.
What you said was, first they try to show you're wrong. First they try to prove things to you.
Yeah.
Then where it fails, they say, oh,
yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know anything. That other guy knows.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's going to say, but I know he knows.
But he started the conversation.
Yeah.
He was willing to talk about it. When
if you got lucky and
point, if you talk to him with logic and you'll be smart enough and have knowledge enough about what he's talking about, and when you guys reach in debating to a point that he cannot reply to it, then suddenly you see him from talking too much, he's just stopping, trying to run away from the conversation and tell you, go ask someone else.
Let me see if I can explain that. So they start out trying to convince you. If they succeed, great. If they can't, or if they fail, they punt to, punt? Does punt mean anything to people not from America? The word punt comes from, the way I know it is American football. And punt means, in American football, here's what it means. You're on offense, you have a chance to make a touchdown, while you're on offense. It's called a drive from beginning to end. If you fail that drive or you don't get a touchdown, it switches to they're on offense, you're on defense. So during that drive, you have the chance to get a touchdown. And at the end, you have multiple chances, okay? When you know you have one chance left and it's your last chance, the ball's going to switch to offense on their side, where it's hard to explain without showing you. But in your last chance, you need to get the ball as far as possible on the other side. So they do what's called a punt. We punt the ball, we kick it to the other side of the game, meaning we give up.
Yeah.
They punt. I shouldn't be using it. Nobody's going to know what this word is. I'm going to call that out. What do you think?
Run away from the.
They
run away from the.
They run away.
Yeah.
While saying that, while telling you to get your criticisms and questions answered by someone else who supposedly knows the answers.
Yeah.
But this guy can't. But they don't know what those answers are. Why they're saying. See, let's think of it in another way, in another field. Let's say it's physics, okay? And let's say, oh no, I have the perfect thing that everyone can talk about this. Germs, okay? I know about germs. You know about germs. I know a little bit more about germs than you. I took a lot of biology classes. But you know some biology. You know enough about germs to not be sick all the time. You know enough about germs to not do this idea back that we did 500 years ago, which was they didn't understand germs and they thought when you're sick it's something to do with your blood, so let's bleed you. If you understand germ theory enough, to some degree, to some level, you don't do that kind of stupid thing. But you and I, both of us, don't know germs as well as some super advanced biology professor has been doing it his whole life, and that's all he studies 24 hours a day. That guy knows more about germs than you and me. Now, if somebody comes to us with a question of something about germs, some types of questions, you can answer it. And so can I, and so can that advanced expert. There's another category of questions, you can't answer it. You don't know enough. I do know enough, I can answer it, and that guy can answer it. Third category of questions, of issues in something about germs, where you can't answer it, I also can't answer it, but he can answer it. And the fourth one is none of us can answer it. Now, in each of these categories of questions, let's talk about, well, I'll just talk about my category, or the things that I don't know about, but he might, that expert. If somebody like you asks me, hey, Rami, what's the answer to this germ question? If it's that category where I don't know, I'm not going to say that guy knows the answer. I'm going to say maybe he knows the answer. I don't, but maybe he does. I can't say he does because I don't know the fucking answer to know that. You would have to know the answer in order to be able to say somebody else also knows the answer. I'm getting angry just fucking thinking about this. That there's people that think somebody else knows. Why?
Because they think that in religion stuff, like there is an answer for everything. If you don't know the answer, there's someone there must have know the answer. Should have.
This reminds me of something. So I was in my college years. I was studying physics, and so I got to talk to physics professors, and I was friends with one of them, and I remember he told me in one of his classes, he was teaching a class astronomy, and he was explaining the sun and the moon and the light, The sun produces light. The moon reflects light. This person stood up and said, no, that's not how it works. The moon makes its own light. That student should be asking the professor, why do you believe what you believe? Not saying, no, you're wrong. Why the fuck are you in the class? You're there to learn from this dude who knows more than you. And yeah, maybe there's a possibility that you're right and they're wrong. But then in that case, you should be explaining how your theory works. You should also need to understand how the other theory works. Do you know how it works? I don't think you do. The dude didn't ask the professor. That's the same kind of person.
Maybe because his society and his parents told him the moon produced light. So he grew up with that idea. And it's hard for him to change it now. Even when everyone says, and logic says, science says, that idea is wrong. It's still hard to change your idea, the one you grow up with, especially if your parents believe in it.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors there.
Of course.
You said it's hard. It's hard in a family that is very static. It's very easy in a family that is very dynamic. Static and dynamic, I'm talking about. If you want to know what I mean by static and dynamic, you can look up in the ex-Muslim subreddit or on my blog. Dynamic memes and static memes. It's a concept by David Deutsch. I think it's presented in his book, The Beginning of Infinity. So, you wanted to give an example
about the challenges?
Yes.
Okay. About the Surah challenges, or let's bring a book like any.
Let's do the sun one.
The sun one also.
What kind of test is this?
I remember I had a post.
So I have to be God in order to prove God wrong. I have to be God. Do you understand that? God is presenting it where the only way at least for this test, the only way I can prove God wrong is I have to be God that made the sun and I can move it around the other way.
Well, what you are saying there, then I have to be God like him. You are kind of including, like, there is a God bringing the sun from the east.
It's a game. Metaphor. It's not even an actual challenge. Yeah. It's a game. It's a trick. This is a really dumb trick, though. The Surah one is a smarter trick, right? Like, because I don't think anyone's going around going, "Bring the sun from the other side. Do it. I dare you."
Yeah.
No human is actually saying that to another person.
Yeah.
But they are doing it for the Surah one because you can make a Surah. Maybe it's not good. But you can make a Surah. You can't actually make planets move the other direction.
But you can't make any book. Let's say, for example, I have a master degree in engineering, and to get a master, you have to write a thesis. Okay? And forget about my thesis. Any thesis in any college in the world. Can you, if I give you one of these theses and I tell you, go make one similar to that. Can you? And whatever you do, doesn't matter how close you will try to make your book similar to the book I gave you, I still can show you there is difference. So it's very vague.
It's very vague. And I want to give an example that I've been giving, that I've been putting on the ex-Muslim subreddit recently about miracles and prophecies, okay? I said that when people talk about these miracles and prophecies, they never talk about the following. Okay, and this is all scientific thinking. What is the set of logical tests that you use to determine if something is a miracle or not? And then Once you have those logical tests, now you need to see how it works in the examples. You need to get all of the miracles and prophecies claimed by a Muslim and all of the miracles and prophecies claimed by every other religion and non-religions, and then perform those tests on all of them, and then it better come out with this: the Muslim miracles and prophecies all came true, and the non-Muslim miracles and prophecies all failed the test. Then you could say something. I haven't seen a Muslim do anything remotely anything like this. None. Meaning they're not doing science. They're doing mythology. And a lot of people think that this has nothing to do with science because there's no empirical test. No, that's not how it works. This is how science works. We are, in a sense, doing an empirical test. In a sense, it is. It's an evidence test. And by the way, this is not shit I made up. This is how the law works. If you go look at Supreme Court judges in the US and how they judge whether a law is constitutional, they have these logical tests that they use to determine if something meets their criteria to be counting as an element of something else, more general. And it's the test that they're using. And it's a very scientific process. They got it from science.
Yeah.
So what are these other challenges?
Let me just give me 2 minutes to explain about the sun thing.
Okay.
Because we talk about the surah. You can apply that to any book in the world. I can bring any book and challenge you to bring a book similar to that. It's applied to any book in the world. It's a very vague challenge. And whatever you bring another book or try to write another book, I still can show you some difference in language, in words, and what in the way of writing that
See, to
book.
me, difference doesn't matter. It has to be different and better.
Yeah.
But better by what measures? It's not clearly defined.
Well, the challenge here doesn't say better, bring better than. Well,
Oh, they say like it.
like it, yes.
Oh.
Yeah. For that challenge.
So as good, at least.
Yeah, at least you bring something as good or similar, not necessarily as good. Similar to it. Actually,
what if we define the measure as this? Has less flaws.
Yeah.
We would win by that.
You have it if you search. We did that actually. We did in Arabic some words similar to Quran words, the old words, the Arabic words, and it's talk about science and how the earth revolve around the sun and not the sun is moving in Quran way of words. Maybe it's still there if you Google it. We did a lot of things of that.
I want to clarify for everyone here. He's talking about a group on Facebook called. Well, it's the
Arab Atheist.
What's the full name in Arabic?
Arab Atheist.
It's 4 words in there.
Arab Atheist Network.
Say it in Arabic now.
شبكة الملحدين العرب.
Okay. Go find it. It's got 9,000 people in there. It used to have 100,000.
Yeah.
Facebook's been trying to shut them down for years, making them close and reopen other groups. And but this is where all this stuff was happening.
Yeah.
For at least 10 years now?
Yeah, it's still happening. We discuss with Arab Muslims in Arab language.
Yeah, but at least 10 years going on now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
Maybe 15.
15 years?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. It's still going.
Yeah, and when I was there, I was trying to post stuff to the Arabic Muslims and non-Muslims, and I try I do my best to keep it simple. Like, you don't need to go and study evolution theory or the Big Bang theory or all that just to start think logically. If you I remember all my posts in that group, it was very simple. For example, let me just give you example about the sun. Like, one of the Muslim posts said the Quran challenge you that he bring the sun from the east. Can you bring it from the west? I just put a reply back then, I was young and don't have that knowledge of today, but I still try to reply. So not necessarily someone finish college or PhD to understand my question. I want anyone, even if he's graduated from primary school, he would get the idea. So my reply was with a boss like I'm saying the Quran or whoever initiate that challenge is just using what physics law which is already there. For example, like why he didn't say uh why he didn't do that challenge to us for one day to prove that to us that he could do that, like bringing the sun from the west for one day,
Yeah.
and then he challenged us. Or for example, that I can also do same example, that boat going in the river in the direction of the wind, can you bring it opposite the direction of the wind? That then it will be when you break the physics
It's
law.
like he's asking, can you break the laws of physics?
Yeah, like they are using the law of physics as
Of course not. But so what?
yeah. So or for example,
I can't believe that made it into the Quran. That sounds so retarded.
the sun,
The concept of him asking you, can you change the laws of physics?
yeah, he's asking maybe maybe Musa's people, or I don't remember who was asking them, but like a lot of examples I give in my boss, like why he can he do that things for one day? For example, a rock falling down from the mountain. I can't just tell you I make the rock fall down from the mountain because it's following physics law. Can you let it fall upwards? I can't do that unless you do it first.
You know what this reminds me of?
And prove to us that you can break the physics of law. Then you can challenge.
You know what this reminds me of?
Even you can't you can't do that. You can't bring the sun from the west to challenge us to bring the sun from the west. Yeah.
It sounds like he's trolling us.
Yeah.
And it reminds me
No
of this.
logic in that.
It reminds me of this. I've been when people troll me, I've been sometimes trolling them back. Okay? One of the ways that I've been using, I really love it. And I think I got this from the Arabs. When I'm talking with a troll and I don't really want to talk to them anymore, and they say something like, I don't know, it's the kind of reply where you can tell they're not really interested in talking with you or educating you or being educated by you or anything, and they're just they're just throwing a reply at you that's going to be their final, just to shit on you. And I like to say this: if my name is Rami Rustam, this world will become what it is supposed to be. Now, this is a little bit of trolling because, well, what's my name? Unless it's something else. Unless my mom lied to me. Unless my birth certificate says something else besides Rami Rustam, then what's going to happen is what's going to happen. But that's not saying anything. I'm just trolling them back.
Yeah.
Allah's trolling us here.
Yeah, we can say, well, our God, which is not Allah, any other God, let's say, we just make one. He make the boat go with the wind direction. Can your Allah bring the boats against the wind for an hour? It's him. It's him. It's no logic in that challenge. It's trolling, like you said.
It reminds me of this, and I think you told me this initially, but I've heard it from other places. What is the idea is, can God do anything? Like, or can he make an immovable object, and then can he move the object? Something like that. Do you remember?
Can he carry a stone like have?
Yeah, something like that. Say it. I don't have it in my head.
Can he create a stone that big that he cannot carry it, or something like that? Yeah.
And I don't know who comes up with stuff like that, but that's the kind of thing the Quran is saying.
Well, Quran gave gods extreme characters, but these characters are against each other. So you can't be extreme great and extreme strong and extreme able. Like you can, like the stone things. You can be
What's the one you just said? Extremely strong and extremely able?
capable.
Okay. I don't
Uh,
understand that conflict.
like you
To
can,
me, opposites would be like if somebody said, I'm the most forgiving and I'm the least forgiving. That's opposites.
yeah.
Those can't be true. But if you say, I'm the most forgiving, and what's another thing people do that might be opposite to that? I'm the most forgiving and I have a hell. What the hell does that mean?
Yeah.
That's not very forgiving. Like there's
Contradiction, yeah.
why is it though? Maybe he's saying everybody is some level of forgiving, but he's even more. But he still has a hell.
Okay, I
So
remember.
everybody has worse.
Maybe I remember the I said it wrong. Extreme capable and extreme great. For example, I give you. Can he? Okay, because religion tell you he is capable of everything and he's the greatest, greater than anything. But can he, if he's capable, can he create a God that's greater than him? You see, it's not working together. They are working against each
Oh,
other.
I see. Yeah.
Capable and great. It's working against each other when it's going to the extreme level.
Yeah.
Maybe if it's not going to the
I mean, I think
extreme,
what this is doing is it's breaking the logic. It's
yeah,
showing where the logic breaks
yeah,
in the whole concept of believing in the God.
yeah.
But what about this one? This is changing subjects, but whatever. We might as well talk about it. So I was talking with a new friend of mine. Can't say his name. Uh, he's on my first podcast, and he kept trying to get me to argue against some sort of conception of God. He talked about this thing called the prime mover, which is like saying everything has a cause, therefore there must have been God that caused the first event or whatever. And I said, we went back and forth, but I said, okay, let's say that is true, but that's not saying anything else. Well, and here's the point. I said, the people that usually, in my experience, the people that are arguing for the prime mover God, they then add 5 additional points that are not argued by any of this. You know, like the people that say they try to argue why there is a God, and then they say it's man. What? Those are not the same thing. They add 50 million things on top of it. So you have to, if you're adding anything, you have to be able to argue what you're adding. So let's suppose there is a God that created the universe. What else can you add? Well, the prime mover argument doesn't add anything else, and I've never heard anyone else be able to add anything else. So how is that different than there not being a God? They can't answer. And here's my point, the final point, which is, and let me explain it from the way somebody else I know explains this. Jordan Peterson says, when he is asked, do you believe in God? He says, I believe in God in the sense that I act as if he's true. Okay, here's my version. I act in a way that doesn't matter if there's a God or not, because it's good. And if there is a heaven and hell, I'm going to heaven. If there isn't, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. And I wonder what Jordan Peterson would say to what I'm saying, which is, I would ask him, the way you're acting, you're acting as if God is true. So let me ask you, is the way you're acting also compatible with if there is no God? I think he would say yes, which means we're on the same page.
I can add to that the characters Muslims give to God, like
Characteristics.
yeah, that he have hell, he can punish people even in the grave before they go to hell, and hell time is eternity, infinity of time. All that it give us a bad pictures of that God, and we don't want that God because I can't trust a God who have that characters. It's scary, and especially let's for example he can change if he can change the law of physics. For example, you are in an airplane,
whenever he wants.
Yeah, you are an airplane, and the airplane designed for some density of the air, so it can fly, and he can with that mentality, with like crazy God, have that all that characters, and if you know, if you believe in him, and he know he can change the density of the air while in a plane. I won't fly if I believe in that God. I will never fly in a plane, and I can give you infinity of example of that. Because the characters of that God, it's scary. I don't think they respect their God enough, but they don't feel that. They don't see that. If there is a God, we don't believe there is one, but let's say we are wrong, and there is a God, maybe group of gods, people, intelligence people, for example. It's unlikely, but let's go with their flow, and we believe there's God.
One of them,
we will give him much better characters, much wisdom than what they do to their God today. Their God is just crazy, and just want revenge, just want to torture people.
one thing I wanted to mention: Moses had retribution or revenge in it, or forget Moses. Jews. That was Moses, right? Moses is yeah. So Jews for what 2,000 years had this philosophy in their religion, and then Jesus came, and he was a Jew. Some of his ideas were better. One of his ideas was revenge is wrong. That was a big improvement, I think, and that's why he had some followers. And then later there was Muhammad, who went back to the old way, or I don't know if you could say back to, but the old way was still there, and the new way of no revenge was still new. It's 600 years later now. Muhammad is 632 years after Jesus, right? And Jesus's message hadn't really spread much. The revenge concept is still everywhere in the world. It's still in the Arab world. And then Muhammad made his religion that had the revenge in it. And he didn't get the improvement from Jesus. Many improvements, by the way. So is that it for this episode? Do you know any other challenges that would be worth talking to here, or any other connections to this?
Even if there is another challenges, like a long time I didn't read Quran or all the stuff, but even if there is other challenges, it's just the same as this challenge. It's vague and is not applicable, and we can't do it too.
We should give them a challenge.
Yeah,
Bring me a challenge from the Quran that isn't ridiculous. That actually is a reasonable challenge. That yeah. This is gonna be good. I'm gonna reword it in a moment. Okay.
like these challenges, Quran use challenges. It's the physics law that exists before the idea of God being born. And now, when the idea of God being born, and now we have a God, few thousand years ago, we start with God. Even before the Islam God, there was many gods in human beliefs. The gods of today, using the law of physics which exists before him, well, they will not. Muslims will tell you God exists before everything, but actually, the idea of because that idea of God, it wasn't existed 5,000 years ago. For the Islam, God, it doesn't exist 2,000 years ago. For billions of years, doesn't exist. And using the physics of laws to give people challenge, using the physics of laws that is already exist before that 2,000 or 3,000 years ago. It's been using exist from 13 billion years, and this universe.
We do that in physics.
Yeah. We could also challenge them or their God, whoever, Muslims or any others. We could challenge them to bring a book like the book we wrote, or that book, or we could challenge them to bring the sun from
I like this right here. Let's challenge them to bring a challenge that makes sense from their own book.
Yeah, like the boat example. We can use the law of physics and do the challenge. Physics and the science says the boats go with the wind direction. Can you or your God, whoever you are, make the boats going for an hour, just for 1 hour, against the wind?
Can your Allah switch the sun? Can your Allah make the sun come from the east?
Just one day to prove to us he exists.
I sound retarded here. Which way does it come now?
Yeah, it's from the east. It's coming from the east.
Can you make the sun come from the west?
You see it rise from the east. Yeah.
So now I'm going to edit this whole post, and also while I'm doing this, I'm gonna play my buddy and I went to the garage and we talked for another almost hour and got all that recorded. I'm gonna play it now. And I'm going to be all right. So we're continuing this episode. Me and my buddy are now in my garage having some tea and cigarettes.
Yeah, where did we reach? About the evidence and the challenges?
Yeah, you were bringing up something else as we were coming in here that didn't get recorded.
Oh, okay. About bringing the sun from the other side. Like it will sunrise from the west.
Is that what you were talking about?
There is a belief in Islam. The sun will come out from the west in the last 3 days of our lives here before the judgment day. So,
okay, what's that mean physics-wise?
Physics-wise, it means the Earth will rotate the opposite side.
No, but here's what's weird. If you were at the time that happened, at the time of the reverse, depending on where you are in the Earth, either it was dark, and then the sun came from the other side, like Allah is describing, or you were on the side of when the switch happened, and you saw the sun going like that, and it just switched direction.
Well,
do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. The guy who made up that story doesn't know does the Earth rotate.
Yeah, obviously,
itself.
that's the point. I was pointing out
thinking that the Earth is stable, stationary, and the sun is moving, and the sun will come out. When I think about it now, how the sun can come out from the other side? It's the only way is the Earth rotate in the opposite side.
Right,
and
but and depending on when that happened, some section of the Earth will see the sun just change direction.
Yeah, if you are in the
flip
afternoon,
180 degrees.
Maybe you are in Australia and it's afternoon.
Yes. Why didn't Allah say that?
Yeah, He didn't say that. That in the afternoon, the sun will set from the same position that it's rise up.
Yeah. So that's actually sort of a challenge that He made for Himself.
Yeah.
Which we know right now today, even before it happens, is retarded.
Yes. You know, but it's interesting about it to think about it scientifically. I always think about it scientifically, and as I said, the only way the sun can rise from the other side is the Earth rotate the opposite direction. Let's just think about what make it rotate in the opposite direction. Maybe another planet hit the Earth from the edge to switch the rotation. That's not gonna happen. You know why? If it's happened, the hit need to be really strong that destroy the Earth.
We would all fly off the goddamn Earth.
So we want
the moment that the Earth.
Yeah.
How fast is it spinning? Like
it should be the same speed.
No. I don't mean spinning like 24 hours a day. That's how fast it's spinning. But how many miles is the circumference of the Earth?
It's depending on the location of the Earth. But let's say it's a little faster than the airplane.
Let's talk about the equator.
Equator faster than the airplane.
Faster than the airplane.
Yeah.
So at the equator.
Yeah.
When the Earth decides to completely switch directions and full speed, right? It's not like slowly switching, right? Is it going to slow down first and then speed up the other direction?
Yeah.
If it did that, it would take forever. It would take a long time for the switch to happen. So the way Allah's describing it, it happened in a day or a moment.
Yeah.
That means every one of us on the equator. I mean, if you're at the poles, maybe you're fine.
If you break suddenly,
yes, that's the point.
We're gonna fly. Yeah,
so, we're going faster than planes on the equator, and then in a split moment, we are stopping and going the other direction at that speed, that new speed.
Yeah,
you will fly off the Earth.
Even your house will get out. Yeah.
A mountain mountains will be fine.
Yeah.
I think mountains will be fine.
It's a big earthquake. It will be disaster.
Oh shit! What kind of? Yeah, what would it do?
So
We're talking about what it would do to the solid objects on the earth. What would it do to the fluid part, the air and the water?
it will be big tsunami.
It would be the biggest. It would.
Yeah.
It would. I don't even. If anyone knows, if anyone who's listening to this knows what it's like on Jupiter, there is a storm that is bigger than. It's way bigger than the Earth, the storm itself, and it's been going on for 300 years at least. A storm.
Yeah.
That's the kind of shit that can happen on some planets.
So in religion,
We don't have shit going on in this planet.
what is the point of saying the last 3 days? Because if that happened, that's the moment of the end of this planet. If it's happened
The
in
last
one
3
moment,
days, it would be the end of the planet, yeah.
it
Yeah.
says for the last 3 days before the judgment
Yeah, it would
day,
be the end of the planet, yeah.
sun will rise
Yeah.
from the west, from the opposite side.
So let's think scientifically or physics-wise. What is the end of the planet?
That will destroy the planet. There is no 3 days left for the sun to rise up.
You mean
from
when the sun expands?
No. If that happened, if the Earth,
Oh, that would end the Earth.
that will end that moment.
Why would
There's
it
no
end the-
3 days. Let's say.
You mean for the people that are on it?
Yeah.
And
Or
their life.
If another big rock hit us to change the, the one hit the.
Oh, we're not even talking about what would have caused it.
Yeah.
You're talking about something that's-
Whatever is the cause, that will be end of humanity on this earth. At that moment, if it happens suddenly, there is no 3 days after.
I think it might be the end of a lot of other things too, not just humans.
if something hit the earth that's caused that's the whole earth will be shattered, the whole planet.
Oh yeah, I mean that's yeah.
The one killed the dinosaurs. It didn't change much in the.
Oh, it's much bigger than that. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's much bigger than that.
Still didn't change the rotation of the earth.
It didn't do shit to the Earth.
Maybe come.
You know what did? You know what did affect the rotation of the Earth? When what is now the moon hit us.
The moon and the sea movements. Yeah.
That changed the direction of the Earth,
Yeah.
and it locked us in the same
It's slowing it
rotation.
down, but really slow. I don't know, every million years as a second or something like that. Slowing down. It's slowing down.
Slowing down.
All that.
days are getting
affects-
longer?
Yeah. So, if that happened, there is no 3 days. There's the earth will be gone. There is no other 3 days, so people can see the sunrise from the opposite direction. And that moment, there will be no forgiveness. They say that 3 days there is no forgiveness. Even if you say, "Oh damn, it is true. I need to change my mind. I want to believe in God. What happened is true." There is no time for that because you will be dead. It's not real what the religion telling you. These stories is not real. It cannot be real scientifically.
I wonder also if Allah was thinking how far in the future this is. Because, by the way, what does Allah say about how far in the past things are? What does Allah say about how old things
I
are?
don't know. Just we created the earth and the skies in 6 days.
6 days and metaphorical days, right?
And
Allah length
A
days.
Christian says, and it's rested in the 7 days. He was tired. He needed to rest.
I guess I would be tired too. Shit, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. So it's a lot of stories when you hear from different religions and science doesn't match. And when it's matched, look, what I like in actually Muslims today, there is something positive. When it match, okay, when it doesn't match, they go to the religion side, unfortunately, even if it's just a story with no evidence. But when it's matched, that's what I like. They are proud. That's
like
mean.
that? Oh, that means they respect science.
I like that part.
Okay.
Yes, they. A lot of people doesn't like it. A lot of people say, "Oh, look, Muslims now or whatever religion, they are using our science."
But you know what
to
I think
prove
people
they're
are not doing
right.
enough of?
Huh?
Here's what I think people are not doing enough of. I agree with what you're saying. It shows a good sign in someone that he gives a shit about science. But what I'm seeing is what I'm seeing is people will see moral flaws in Islam, but they don't think that's enough to reject Islam.
Mm-hmm.
They look at they consider the science what they think are science flaws. They think if you can prove it wrong scientifically, that's okay, then you can reject Islam. But they don't think you can, quote unquote, prove it wrong morally. And it's weird to me because the way I left Islam was a moral argument. I left Islam when I realized I am morally better than Islam. Islam can't be from God if I'm better than its perfection. It's not perfect then.
Well, you won't have a hell if you
and it means it's man-made.
Yeah.
But I'm noticing people come into this ex-Muslim subreddit and they don't seem to have the intellectual framework to be able to say to themselves, you can prove a religion wrong from the moral ideas. I don't understand it.
I tell you, I might understand it. Because when I was a Muslim, I come with full confidence and talk to you and trying to prove the existence of God and our religion is right. But when you squeeze me in a corner, when I can't answer that, when you give me a questions that I stop being able to answer it because you're talking logic to me. I'm just telling you the stories my parents tell me and my society. So of course I won't be strong, even though I thought I can convince you.
Yeah.
But when I shut down there, I will just tell you, go. I might not know this. It's not my specialist. We can go to the
And okay, so here's what I think is wrong.
the imam or whoever know.
Here's what I think is wrong.
Scholars, yeah.
People don't know the moral arguments. Even atheists. What I find is atheists, ex-Muslims, atheists from ex-Christian version, all the atheists, or obviously it's not all. I'm not the only one speaking this way. I'm one of the atheists that says morality is objective. There is truth in there. The rest of the world, it seems, the theologists, the theists, say that the only way morality is objective is if there's a God. And they think that the atheists can't claim objective morality. And the problem is, most of the atheists also believe that, with them. At least that framework of things. They still say, you guys are wrong for fucking 6-year-olds. But they don't know how to recognize that actually means objective morality. Okay? So then, because they have this really poor framework that involves morality, they don't have the confidence to say, I can prove Islam wrong based on the morality of it.
They contradict themselves because if Arab before Islam, they have moral. They have good morals. Okay, there is bad one, of course, everywhere. But they were generous. They have this Hatam al-Ta'i. His example in Arab till today, that he was generous. He respect the guest when they come to his house, and he been generous to them. He been nice to them. Very hospitable.
Yes, and Islam didn't make that stuff.
He died before Islam came. And Muslims knows about him.
Okay.
So there is morals before Islam. When they say that...
And there's no Muslims denying these morals.
True.
What they do deny is Islam improved the situation from before. They named some bad things. But they're ignoring all the good ones.
Yeah.
And they're making it as if all the good stuff is from Islam, when really a bunch of it was from before. And Islam also introduced bad things that weren't there before.
Of course it's introduced bad things. They don't notice that, but we see, like, if I'm religious, some religious people don't eat food if I'm from different religion and I invited you to my house to eat. I noticed that. I witnessed it in my eyes. Like,
what do you mean they don't eat food? What kind of food?
Normal food. There's
mean
no pork, nothing in it.
Why won't they eat? What do you mean?
Just because you are from different religion.
They won't eat with you?
They won't eat the food that you make, yeah. There is some people like that.
What the fuck is that? I've never heard of that shit.
Yeah.
You mean they're not even going by, is it kosher, is it halal?
Yeah.
They're not doing that. It's, you made it? It's your food?
Yeah, but because you are from different religion or different...
Maybe they're just playing it safe. It's probably not halal. It's probably not kosher.
No, it was halal. I remember it was no pork in it. It was no alcohol in it. But
And this is common.
you see, not common, but these crazy things happen. It takes religion for you to do that.
Okay.
Without a religion, we want, and this is not that bad. The bad thing is how to hurt each other, to kill each other. Religions divided us. So religion didn't do good things all the time. Maybe to tell you, respect your parents, respect your neighbors. But we know that even before religion. We could do that. People without religion, they respect their parents, they respect their neighbors.
Okay. Then let me bring you one again from earlier in this episode. Jesus brought, this is the story at least, I don't know if it's true. Supposedly, Jesus brought the concept of revenge is wrong. And at the time, the Jewish religion, and still today, I'm not claiming Jews necessarily do this today. Most, from what I understand, most ethnic Jews are atheists now. The point is, before Jesus, it was not common at all to have any culture around the world to be
forgiven,
to be against revenge. Like eye for an eye was the thing everyone was doing.
Yeah.
Maybe there was better. Maybe there were tribes or better cultures that are not doing that, and maybe they had the no revenge concept, but it didn't survive till today as a piece of history. The only one we know of, that I know of, I mean, I don't study history a lot, but is the famous one, which is Jesus. What was the point of all this?
About the revenge.
About the religion, that you said the no religion brought anything good. That was good. That's a religion.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm not even claiming that Jesus thinks he had a religion. Maybe what actually happened is Jesus was just a Jew like everybody else. He realized the bullshit, and he's thinking, you know what? You guys are crazy. This is all bullshit. There's no God, and I'm going to teach people something better. And then later, other people said, oh, that dude must be God.
Yeah.
But he was just a good dude.
After he died.
Yeah, after he died.
Yeah.
Yeah, after he died. Maybe even 300 years after he died.
Yeah.
But even if it was during his life, I can imagine. Imagine you're Jesus over there and like, oh God, how you doing? He's like, no, shut up, I'm not God, stop that. Yeah. I can imagine that.
Well, in Islam, Jesus is not God anyway. And he's not the son, he's just a prophet of God.
Yeah.
And he disappeared and he's still alive and he gonna
come back
one day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when they asked the prophet, like when they asked Muhammad, he said like he's coming out soon. I bet he didn't know, like after 1400 years, he's still.
I wonder, how long do you think Muhammad thought his Islam is going to last after him?
Not 1400 years. Definitely. Not 1400 years. Much less than that.
I don't know. I mean, in Muhammad's time, how long did they even know how old humans were? Like, what knowledge did they have about how old humans were?
They think Adam's.
How far do they think that is? 6,000 years? Like 1,000 years before Moses?
I don't know what's...
How old is Moses? 5,000 years?
No.
I think it's 5.
No, 3.
I think it's 3,000 years before Jesus.
Okay. I'm not sure of that.
Yeah, well, my information is not coming from Judaism.
Yeah.
Jews maybe can explain this, but the point is, Adam is older than Moses by a long... Like, don't they have a lineage, supposedly, in the Bible? Adam, and then blah, 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 until Moses. Like, they have a lineage, right?
Yeah.
So, really, you could count the generations, and you know how long it was. But let's say that's 1,000 years. So, we're talking 6,000 years ago. 4,000 BC. That's how old Muhammad thought things were. So...
The 6 days, comparing to the 6 days. Or there's nothing to do with the 6 days.
Well, all I'm trying to say is, if he knew that the world, that the known world at the time of humans was like a few thousand years old, then he might imagine it'll go on a few more thousand years from where he was, which is 1,400. It's only 1,400. That's not a lot.
I don't think because there's hadith is always when they tell him when is the judgment day, when Jesus will come up. he always, like, the answers in hadith is always referred to soon.
And what does soon mean? His lifetime soon? Or Allah soon? Or human civilization
no,
soon?
soon after he died.
Soon after he died.
Soon after he dies.
How do you know? Like from some
But
stuff
we
he
don't know
said?
how much soon. Is 1,000 years considered soon? In Muhammad calendar, not in the universe calendar. In universe calendar, 1,000 years is nothing. In Muhammad calendar,
Muhammad's calendar of the universe, or Muhammad's
of
calendar
human
of his own life, or Muhammad's calendar of human history?
Of human history, yes. Because back then, not only Muhammad, none of them knows how long we've been on this planet. We've been on this planet like the dinosaur extinct 60 million years ago, and that's helped mammals to develop on this planet scientifically.
Yeah.
And we were living according to the
It lets
evolution.
the Muslims have oil. That's hilarious, isn't it? An event that happened, or many events that happened way more than 60 million years ago. And when did the dinosaurs die? Is that the
60?
That's the 60 million. That was the
Yeah.
end of them. So this event, or multiple series of events that led to dinosaurs existing and then dying 60 million years ago, and then turning into oil, and then Islam is still around, and they're like, "Hey, we got oil, and now let's go spread Wahhabism
I bet you
using that oil money."
Yeah, no religion knows that dinosaur lives on this planet more than the humanity. How long we lived here? Like after this 60 million years, we come up maybe 2 million years ago as apes, or 4 million years ago, and then now the Homo erectus and all that develops happened to us. Today the Homo sapien, us, we exist for 200,000 years only. Dinosaur lives way more than that. In this planet, they were dominating this planet for over 300 million years. That's more than how much human lives and dominate this planet.
300 million.
No religion knows that.
300
No
million.
God knows that.
300 million versus
Science only know that.
300 million versus 200,000.
Let's say 1 million. If we count the Homo erectus before the Homo
You might as well go 2
and
million.
Neanderthal
You
and
might as
all
well go 2 million for us, because
Yeah.
from what I understand, the 2 million year old human is the one that discovered fire.
Yeah. When we were living in the caves and in the jungle, yeah.
We were still we were still in Africa at that time.
Imagine we are exist the day dinosaur extinct. It's still 60 million, not 300 million. Dinosaurs lives more than 300 millions on this planet.
Yeah.
No religion mentioned that.
Mention
Why no God knows
which
that?
part about dinosaurs?
Yeah,
Well, there's a lot of animals it didn't mention.
but dinosaur
Why-
was
why?
big and strong.
You mean if
Dominating
if
the-
Allah wanted to flex his knowledge, he would have mentioned dinosaurs.
At least mention something that's in the history of the earth, so we know that you really were there and you created.
You're making a
everything.
basic point that Allah couldn't flex any knowledge more than what humans already had at the time.
No, yes, exactly. That's why we realize religion is man-made. It didn't give us anything. That's what science today discovered. And when something just by coincidence match with science, you see all the theists are proud and they say, "You see, we mentioned it 1,000 years ago," and actually they didn't mention it in the right way.
Or it'll be something somebody else 600 years earlier already mentioned.
Yeah. Imagine that religion doesn't know how the sun and earth works. They think the sun will come up from the other side. They don't know the earth is spinning around itself back then. Although the Greeks, they knew about it back then. I don't know why they didn't, like people in Arabia, they didn't catch it. The Greeks, I think they know. The Greeks,
That's weird what you're saying, because Mesopotamia, or the area, the Middle East people, really early. We're talking like
Yeah, but
the earliest civilization.
Islam didn't come from the Mesopotamia.
No,
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But Islam invaded that area.
Yeah.
And brought Islam there, and those people, which is where you and I are from,
Yeah.
Syria and Iraq.
Yeah.
They already had a civilization that was very strong in
Advanced.
very advanced in math. Well, we
Yeah.
made algebra. Geometry was there.
Yeah.
The pyramids.
Yeah.
What's the pyramids? You had to understand a lot of geometry to make stuff like that. And that's way older than Islam.
Yeah. When Islam occupied the...
What does Islam say about the Pharaoh and the Egyptians?
says Pharaoh was against Moses and tried to kill him. But God protected Moses, and Pharaoh couldn't do much against him, couldn't kill him.
Doesn't Allah say stuff like, comment on the idea that, Pharaoh thinks he's God or says he's God?
Yeah.
What does he say about it?
The Quran claimed that he's God, and Moses rejected that.
And what's the point of telling that story? Why is Allah saying that story?
Believe it or not, half of Quran is about Moses and Pharaoh. Half of it.
What?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know.
What's the lesson he's trying to teach?
A lot of people link Islam with Judaism, because Quran really mentioned, there's the most stories mentioned.
What do you think is the point of mentioning the Pharaoh so much? Is it because he's saying, hey, you guys need to stop acting like you're God?
Maybe. I'm not sure. We can ask the one who wrote
Okay,
Quran.
and wasn't there this too? Supposedly bad shit happened to the Pharaoh's kingdom because they went against God? Is that the idea? What does the Quran say about that? Or the older
I think
book?
the one who wrote the Quran knows a lot about Moses, because a lot of...
Yeah, that's fine. Which means just that he read the damn other books.
A lot of people believe that Islam is the extent of Judaism. Nothing to do with Christianity.
Okay.
And there is a link between the two religions. That's why you see Moses and Pharaoh and Moses stories mentioned too many things, too many times.
And who knows? Maybe that means Christianity, as a thing and a philosophy, wasn't really there when Islam came.
Say again?
Maybe the advanced Christianity that we know today,
Yeah.
the story that we know about Jesus, maybe it wasn't famous in Muhammad's time yet, 600 years after Jesus. Because the story I hear is that there's no record of Jesus until 300 years after his existence, supposed existence. So maybe at Muhammad's time, it wasn't very famous. He didn't care about it too much, because there's many religions that Muhammad knew about that he could care about. He could have talked about Buddhism. He could have talked about Hinduism. He could have talked about Zoroastrianism. But instead, like you're saying, he mostly focused on Judaism. Why?
Moses.
That was the one he was closest to?
Yeah.
That's the one he's more connected to than the other ones? That's the one, was he in a conflict with them? Here's one thing. There was no Buddhists, from what I understand. There's no Buddhists in Mecca, but there were Jews.
Mm-hmm. Quran mentioned also Jesus, mentioned other prophet stories.
Mention them, but like you're saying, not really
like
focusing on
Yusuf,
them.
there is a whole story about Yusuf, Joseph in English. There's full surah about him. But it's not compared to Moses. Moses is half Quran about Israel and Bani Israel and Pharaoh and Moses, about Judaism. It's a lot. Maybe 1/3 or 1/2.
He's made a religion to contradict another religion. Or siphon power from another religion.
Yeah. Well, giving stories, examples. There's a lot of stories about Moses. And about they
So it's more like he liked a lot of it. He's like, I'll just use it.
Yeah.
I mean, he obviously liked the revenge. I mean, it's not like he didn't put it in the Quran. He could have done that. He apparently liked the heaven and hell part. Although, didn't he make the hell worse or no? The hell described in the Old Testament, is it different than the hell described in the Quran?
I know the word Jahannam is a Judaism word, not Arabic word. Jahannam is the hell in Quran. It's mentioned with the name Jahannam.
Yeah.
Jahannam is not an Arabic word.
Okay.
It's
That's fine. That makes sense. Because, I mean, he's admitting...
I don't know what's the language. What's the name of the language? Jewish talk?
Hebrew?
Hebrew word.
Yeah.
I heard it's Hebrew word.
Okay.
Jahannam. So it's linked a lot, like the stories in the Quran. There's a lot of stories in the Quran links a lot with Judaism.
So it's the standard. He's co-opting the old religion.
Updating.
Co-opting, like taking it, saying it's mine, adding some things. Like, why don't you make your own damn religion?
Yeah.
By the way, that's what Jesus did.
Yeah.
Or if he did do something, like if he really was trying... The theory I was saying earlier is that he's not making a religion. He's just saying what he thinks is right. Okay? And it happens to be different than what the Jews were saying.
Yeah.
And so he's clearly saying, I'm not a Jew. But it doesn't necessarily mean he's saying I'm God.
When Islam it's come back to the Judaism laws and like the eye for an eye come back. That's from Judaism. And it's existed.
Well, you're saying come back. It never left. The Arabs already had the eye for an eye, and then Islam just said, okay, let's do it more.
Well, according to Islam, religion after religion, one complete each other. So if I'm a Muslim, I believe in Moses. And Moses believe in eye for eye. Then when Christian come, Jesus come, and Muslims believe in Jesus as a prophet, Jesus didn't believe in eye for an eye. When Muhammad come, he bring back the eye for an eye after Jesus erased it. That's what I mean with come back.
Well, my theory was Jesus' idea of no revenge didn't spread much. So he didn't have to bring back the old idea. It was still there. Still 99% of people were revengers. That's my theory. I mean, even still today, it's fucking huge how many people believe in that crap. Even a lot of Christians, but there's also a lot of Christians that are against it. Like, they understand this one version of, let's call it version of Christianity. You know, because Christianity still has the hell concept, right? But there is a subsection of Christians who never talk about the hell part. And they talk about God in a way of, you deserve forgiveness, which means you don't go to hell.
We are son of God. Yes, how can we go to hell?
And you know, the idea that Jesus died for our sins, meaning meaning like he already got punished, so we don't have to go to hell.
Yeah.
And it's saying no shame in there.
So there is no hell in that version.
Except there really is a hell because it's still in the book, but they never talk about it. They don't hit it hard. To me, it seems like they got better, and they should have got rid of the hell, but I guess it's hard to get rid of. You know, if you look at the U.S. laws, there's so many laws still on the books that no one follows today. The police will not follow it because they're dumb. Mm-hmm. But there's still laws, and you are breaking the law, technically. And you can do it in front of a policeman. And there's a guy who's done this. He wrote a book. He wrote a book called How to Become a Federal Criminal. And he lists all the federal crimes that are like 200 years old that no one cares about today. And you won't go to jail for it. And you can do it in front of a policeman. And the policeman, if he knows what's going on, will laugh. Because he knows what you're doing, which is you're breaking the federal law.
Yeah.
But he's not going to do anything because it's fucking stupid. An example is something like, when you want to clean a rug, you do this, what do you call it? You flap the rug outside in the air to get dust off of it, right? I don't know what it's called.
That was against the law?
On Sundays. There's a law like that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, something stupid like that. It's so stupid. And instead of them getting rid of the law, like making a law that gets rid of the law, they just it's just a dead law that's still there that no one cares about or uses. Yeah. Now think about that in the religious way. Christianity became this thing where like, hey, hell concept is dumb. We're not going to use it anymore. But we're also not deleting it from the book.
That's happening in Islam too. Like the thief, we should cut his hand. Now, majority of the Muslims country doesn't cut the hand of the thief. It's dumb law too.
Yeah.
Maybe that thief was hungry. He stole a bread. Maybe he gonna stop that. stop the theft after he get a job. If we can get him a job, he will.
And
stop
by the
it,
way, what you're saying here is at least recognizing that even if revenge is right, there's some levels of revenge that are wrong.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Revenge always bad. There's always better way to deal with a situation, better than revenge.
They think they're teaching a lesson, and that you're going to act better next time.
Maybe revenge will make you act worse.
Oh, I'm against it, so you don't need to convince me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're against revenge.
Well, a lot of times what's happening when you're taking revenge is you were wrong to begin with about what the fucking thing was. That's what a lot of times is happening. Because the same person that's dumb enough to believe in revenge is also dumb enough to mistake a wrong that someone did to them. They don't understand benefit of the doubt. The people who believe in revenge don't understand a couple of concepts. Benefit of the doubt. And innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
The revenge concept is, oh, you believe somebody's wrong. No need to check that. You're infallible. Now go attack to teach him a lesson. That's what revenge is.
Yeah.
Now, people will talk about, well, even the U.S. government has revenge, and they talk about prison. Prison should be just self-defense. It shouldn't be there to harm people. And yeah, there should be lessons, but it's not from the harm. It's from teaching. You know, we give them a library. We give them the ability to get a college degree and a high school diploma without charging them for it. That's how you help someone.
Yeah, prepare them to be
A functioning non-criminal. Yes.
In the society.
Productive member of society, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they call it correctional units.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Correctional, but how are they correcting?
They're not.
The thing is, the people who believe in revenge also think they're correcting. But they think the way they're correcting is to teach you that, hey, if you do that again, we're going to hit you harder. But that's not how it works. And there's a big movement in the U.S. prison system to get rid of the revenge part. And there's European countries that are more advanced than us in this. I think it was Sweden, where their prison system, I saw a documentary of this. It didn't look like a prison. It looked like a place to hang out. It looked like just fun place to go. It's just a place where you live, where you do, but you are not allowed to leave. It's a prison in that sense. It's self-defense. The society is defending itself from you. But in that area, it's not keeping you in a cell. There's no bars. You got all the amenities anyone else might have. And their rates of people being in jail is going down. It's going down so much that they're like, we don't even need all these prisons anymore. That's what happened. That's what's happening in, I think it was Sweden.
And Finland, maybe.
I'm not sure about which country.
Yes.
It's one of those countries in Europe, one of the Western ones.
Yeah.
It's I think it's one of the Scandinavian ones, or it's not the standard English, French, Spanish. It's
Yeah, they have a very low crime rate comparing to other countries.
Yeah. And you know what's weird is the people who care about religion, they care about it in the same way that I did. I care about morality. That's why we need religion. But it's weird. Like, so these people are saying we need religion for morality, but we can't use morality to prove religion wrong. How the fuck does that make sense? It's one or the other. If you believe religion is for morality, then you should be able to refute a religion by its morality. And if you don't think you can prove a religion by its morality, then you shouldn't believe a religion because of its morality. Those two don't make sense together. It's similar to this contradiction. Muslims say that to become a Muslim, It's so easy. You can be born into it, which means you don't do anything. Or you can just say the Shahada 3 times and you're a Muslim. But to get out of Islam...
We cut your head.
No, what does it take to get out of Islam? They do say that part.
Yeah.
But ignore that for a second. What do the Muslims want you to do to get out of Islam? You have to become a scholar. They say, you don't know anything about your religion.
Yeah.
You should go learn, go talk to a scholar.
Yeah.
So to get in the religion, you don't need to know jack shit.
Yeah.
But to get out of the religion, you need to be a better scholar than the best scholar?
To make it hard for you to get out.
How the fuck does that make sense?
Yeah. The apostasy law, it's to make it also harder for you to leave the religion. It's the same. We're going in the same.
Yeah, but it's more than that. It's not about you. It's about the other people. See, when you become an apostate, you are now, in their eyes, a spy. And you are now infecting, or maybe spy is not the right word, but you are now, in their eyes, infecting the minds of the Muslims. That's what they're worried about. They're not worried about you and that you don't believe. They're worried about...
your influence.
They're worried about the other current Muslims being influenced by you. So if they say death penalty to you, that keeps you quiet. So you won't even tell people that you're an ex-Muslim.
And it's an example for the rest of the Muslims that that's what happened to you.
Yes, obviously. Yeah.
If you leave Islam.
Yeah.
Well, any idea, any thoughts, any religion, whatever you call it, if the idea is based on concrete with evidence, you don't need to make a law or punishment if you don't believe in that.
Yeah.
Like 1 + 1 = 2. I don't need to kill you if you don't believe 1 + 1
There's
= 2.
no field of study in math or physics or biology or chemistry where they say, if you don't believe this, you go to hell.
Yeah.
They don't need to do that.
Yeah. And that's mean if there is apostasy law about an idea, if you leave that idea, that's mean that idea is weak. Yeah. That's why we put the apostasy law. If your idea is strong and logical, you don't need any, you should not be worried about who gonna believe in me, who gonna believe what I believe, or who gonna stop believing. I don't care about if you believe 1 + 1 = 5. I won't punish you for that.
So in the example,
because my idea is strong, scientifically strong.
So in the example I gave earlier about my professor in the astronomy class, where the student said, "No, you're wrong about the moon. The moon gives its own light." The physics professor, he's not gonna go out of his way to convince you.
He will not cut his head.
Well, he's definitely not doing that, but he also doesn't care.
Yeah.
If you don't want to learn, okay, fuck off.
Because his idea is strong. The idea is logically, scientifically strong. So that's why you don't need to worry. If your religion is strong and it's convincing and it's true and right in everything, why you worry that couple of people will not believe in it? Why you have to kill them? Doesn't that prove that your religion is really weak and is not convincing, and you worry that everyone will leave it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So why you are still in a weak idea? Believe in a weak idea, not proven scientifically or logically
So let's talk about some epistemology real quick. Study of knowledge. Karl Popper explained something very basic. Well, maybe it's not so basic, but what we do in science is we're trying to make our theories very easy to be proved wrong. The opposite of, we're not trying to make them hard to prove wrong, although in a sense it's still hard, because the closer you get to the truth, the deeper, the more explanatory your theories are, the more phenomenon they agree with and explain, the harder it is to show that it is wrong. But at the same time, when we're designing the scientific theories and the experiments, we're trying to make them easy to know when something is wrong. Easy to prove it wrong.
Where it seems like what's happening on the religious side is the exact opposite. Let's do everything we can to make it difficult to prove something wrong. Make things vague intentionally so that you can't refute it. Although, what basic understanding in science is when something is vague, that's why you should recognize it as wrong. Because it is hard to show a statement that would contradict it. If a statement, which is vague means it could mean 10 different things. So then, how can you show that vague statement is wrong? You would have to try to make a complete set of all the things it could mean and show how all of those are wrong. And then, because it's vague, somebody could say, no, you missed one. There's this other one. That's not what it means. Not those 10 things. And the thing is, when somebody makes a vague claim, it's not my job to guess which of the 10 possible meanings that thing is. It's your job to do that. You tell me which of the 10 things that it could mean that it actually is.
It's also applied on the philosophy. What's it called? Philosophy?
Epistemology?
No, the
apostasy.
Apostasy.
Apostasy just means leaving your religion, though.
Yeah.
It's not cutting your head off.
If you are a Muslim and you believe apostasy is not in Quran, it's only in Hadith, and maybe that Hadith...
You mean the death penalty?
Yeah, death penalty. Yeah. And that Hadith is wrong.
Yeah.
It's not in Quran. If you believe that apostasy law is wrong, why you don't join us then? Stay Muslims, but join us in the uniting the cult against the apostasy law.
Yeah. Muslims are welcome.
Yeah. Anyone believes against the apostasy laws, he's welcome, and he need to also participate in his society with whatever he can, enlightening people about this is wrong. If you have an idea,
so that's what concerns.
Convincing, we don't need to kill people.
So that's what concerns me about this message I'm saying. I kind of had two roles here. I made this organization, Uniting the Cults, to remove apostasy laws. But I'm also this person that criticizes Islam. And one of the things I've been saying is... so somebody says, why do you curse our religion? Well, we're doing that because... The way I replied was, the reason we're cursing your religion is because of things like the apostasy laws. And and this reminds me, and I got this idea from you, actually. You taught me this idea that you were doing in the Shabakeh, which was, you want to tell the story?
If someone threatened...
First say what was happening.
People are threatening some atheists.
So Muslims were threatening death threats, making death threats to the ex-Muslims in this group, the Shabakeh.
So,
and then the way that to stop them. That the ex-Muslims replied when they got these death threats is to curse Allah. And then you guys instituted a rule. The admins of Shabakeh.
The admins doesn't want to curse Allah. We try
I know that, but the people were doing that.
Respect, but we let members curse when that threat or when they kill someone. So because the Muslims now feels it's worse, because now the Muslims feel
let's clarify.
I got insulted because I threatened someone.
Well, they only understood that after you told them and you made a rule. Yeah. You guys made a rule. As long as no one's making death threats to you, you're not allowed to curse Allah.
Yeah.
And they respected it. The ex-Muslims respected this.
Yes.
But then the moment a Muslim made a death threat to an ex-Muslim, he would curse Allah. And then you're saying that the Muslims got the idea that it's their fault if we curse Allah.
Their God get insulted. It's because of their fault. So that's worse. We have less threat now.
Yeah.
And we can have better debating without threatening. So it works. Because you say, they are asking you why you curse Islam. And we can't like worry about your feeling because we curse your religion while you support some taking life of someone else. Like if you are willing to take or we are,
And the point is, you told me this worked.
yeah,
The Muslims stopped making the death threats.
yeah,
And I wanted to take your idea on a worldwide scale.
yeah,
I wanted to say to Muslims and to ex-Muslims together, we will stop cursing Allah when you guys
stop killing people.
stop making death threats.
Yeah.
The apostasy laws itself is a death threat.
Yeah,
The apostasy laws is a death threat if you leave your religion and if you speak out about your suffering and about your criticism of Islam. And so what I'm saying is the same thing you were saying basically, but it's a little bit different. We won't curse Allah while you guys don't make death threats.
yeah,
But since you guys do have the death threats, and when I say you guys, I don't mean individual people. Right now I'm talking about fucking nations. The nations who are claiming to be Islamic nations have this death threat, and they only have the death threat if you leave the Islamic religion, not if you leave Christianity or if you leave Judaism or any other religion.
true.
And we will stop. We will stop cursing Allah when you guys stop having this death threat. And my problem I'm having is, how am I going to attract Muslims when I'm also making this curse against Allah? But I don't do it all the time. I only do it in this one little small context. I'm only saying, in one little place, Allah, you go to hell while you're making this death threat. If you stop making the death threat, and I mean these nations, then I won't make that curse anymore, and I don't do it in any other context.
Yeah, in another way, if you respect human life, doesn't matter where they come from. We respect you too, and we respect what you believe. Just don't hurt anyone else. Believe whatever you want to believe.
I'm cursing something that I believe is evil.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't curse it if it was good.
Yeah.
And the Muslims will say Christianity and Judaism has blah blah blah, some part that is also like, but there's no Jews and Christians saying that today. I don't care what it's in their book, and I don't care what's in the Islamic book. I care what Muslims and Islamic nations are doing today.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Where does that leave us? Is it the end of this episode?
For today, yes. I think we express ourselves about.
Did we solve the world's problems?
That's a big dream, you know?
Big dream?
Yeah.
Well, we can make steps.
We don't mind religion, difference of religions. But we don't want that religions or that ideas that come from religion separate people, make people different. Think people are better than the other people. So give the right to some people that we can take the life of the other guy.
Yeah.
That is really bad. That shouldn't come from a God if you believe in God. You say he's the most merciful.
Yeah, if you adopt a religion, it should be...
And who created that
It
man?
should be something that makes you better, not worse.
In your idea, in your thought, in your religion, that different guy, who created him? Isn't it your God? He wanted him to be on earth. What? He gave him that life. Who gave you the right to take that life from him? Like, they're contradicting themselves according to their religion. And apostasy law is not in Quran. Let's say it's not in Quran. It's not clear in Quran. It says God will put him in hell. God will be angry at him. God will be upset.
Maybe that'll
with him.
be the way that they
But
get rid of it.
Yeah, it didn't say go and kill him.
Maybe that'll be the way they are able to get rid of that, apostasy laws, and argue that Islam doesn't have it. That's fine. Maybe everyone becomes a Qur'ani.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough for this episode. See you next time.